Yo, yo, yo. Hey, Rig. Right. Should have combed my hair. What I've got left. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. How's it going? Happy Thursday, y'all. All right. Let's do the thing. Project open. It's going okay. You're pulling out your hair, trying to track down a bug at work. Oof. Ryson. Don't sell yourself short. Plenty of hair there. Hey, Moth. Good to see you. How are you doing? We're doing some overlay work. We wrote up a new method yesterday that just kind of worked. It's got some minor issues. But it mostly works. Hey, still needs work. Awesome. Gang's all here. So we can like draw stuff. Just draw some random stuff. And then we can select it. I'm not totally pleased with a couple of aspects of this, but it's better than the other method already just out of the box. We have some problems as far as the outlining part goes, but that it's okay. Fairly pleased with this, using this kind of tinting as like a selection thing for knowing what you're actually selected. How does it work if we do multiple layers? Probably should have tested that yesterday. You're rocking the full Picard. Last couple of years, it clearly became a lost cause. Yeah, I think that's the right choice. Oh yeah, is this in place of the outline bounding boxes thing? Yes, because I hated that. All right, so if we did it too. And so what if I made the selection box and then we started just mousing around? Yeah, so this black outline is a problem. I think it's actually kind of interesting why that's happening. I think I understand why that's happening. It's a problem with the sprite we're using. This is weird. Whatever's going on here on these corners, I'm not sure what this little gray outline thing is on the corners here. That could also be an artifact. This is weird too. This black outlining thing. We got to deal with this corner piece missing. So we have a number of minor issues to deal with, but overall I'm much happier with this approach. Someone had an idea of doing something with the cutaway to like show what you're cutting away a little more clearly. But I'm not... Let's table that for now and just start working on some of the little problems with the sprite sheets. Check for an NVIDIA driver bug. You know, that's funny, because yeah, that was the problem, the huge problem we were having before with the weird issue, and it was totally an NVIDIA driver bug with Vulkan. You like the tinting as well, Ryson? Awesome. We need to add support for doors. We don't have that. So let's start tackling the minor issues and then add support for doors. Because right now we don't have any tinting models for the doors. But yeah, eventually we want this to be very automatic. So for every sprite that I make, it like automatically makes a tinted version of it for the outlining system. And then maybe eventually we do it with the shader, but I don't think we're going to. think it's always going to be an auto-tiling thing. As tempting as it is to make it a shader. So let's go into A-Sprite, because I think most of our problems... Thankfully, I think most of our problems are in A-Sprite. I need to turn the background on so I can actually see what we've got here. Yeah, here's one of the problems already. That's obvious. I instead of having the outline, I omit it when we should be painting this other gray color. Man, remember when we were going to see Undo Redo? Pepperidge Farm remembers. We still need to do Undo Redo. But yeah. The sadder thing is that we previously had a working version of Undo Redo. But that was back when everything was actually being done directly and stored directly in the tile maps. But yeah, serialization and Undo Redo is definitely on the list of things to do before we move on. All right. I don't know why I thought I could get away with not drawing this. Oh, probably because it was just an outline and we didn't have any solid coloring underneath it. Or hold on, how does this work then? Oh, this is all drawn the same way. Oh, I see. I actually don't understand why we're doing it this way. I feel like this is going to cause problems. Okay, yeah, I probably want to fix all of these, huh? Do layered do... Let me check something real quick. Not here. I have a question about how the Z tiles work. Where do I even keep this file? Hopefully not in the project itself. No. Hull shape exploration. So when we take a Z tile like this and we tessellate it, do they overlap? I feel like the answer is maybe. Oh, they do overlap. That's why we didn't implement this, or that's why we didn't bother drawing this stuff. It's because the one in front will always overwrite the one behind it. I feel like that's an argument to draw it then. Huh. Interesting. All right, we might touch up a few other layers here. Or we'll ignore it until it becomes an obvious problem. Which is always my preferred way of doing things. Let's not worry about that right now, as I always say. But how are you doing, Enomoth? Still needs work. Ryson. AKA Riggs, AKA Nathan. Pick a brand identity. No, I think it's funny. It's a bit of a game for me to remember everyone's names on the different platforms. But, I think I'm doing an okay job. You're doing all right? Okay, that's good. I know it's crunch time for people doing school stuff. My partner is working really hard on a bunch of projects. They happen to all be team projects. They're in grad school. And I'm just saying, I'm glad I'm not working on any team projects. You know what I mean? There are days when I'm grateful to be a solo dev, and it's usually the days that she has team meetings with her team. I'm like, oh man. I don't know if I could do game dev with the team. I'm just a very independent worker. And I know that deeply limits the kind of stuff I can accomplish and achieve, but I think I can live with it. You like to be difficult? Yeah, you do, Ryson. But it's cool. Oh, shoot. I exported it with the background. That was a mistake. Okay, so is this fine, what we've got going on here with this lack of... I don't want it to work this way, so I'm going to fix this real quick. Down, down, down. I like this song. Farmlands by Harris Heller. Yeah, this is fire. Working with a team is rough. Hell is other people. That's a very succinct way to put it. You know how all the platforms did their like year in review stuff where they like you can get your Spotify, like here's all the stuff you listened to last year. And Spotify did one that's like, it's like an AI podcast. It's like 2 AI speakers and they like analyze and like talk about all the stuff you listened to last year. And it was wild. I listened to my partners because I don't use Spotify. And it was insane. We're listening to these 2 AIs talk to each other. And they invented a word during this conversation, which we're just obsessed with now, and we say it all the time. And I just thought of it because of succinctly. But the word they invented was succisely. And one of them just says that in place of precisely. Instead of precisely, they just say succisely. Succisely. Now, like, we can't stop saying it. No one understands what we're doing. It's like succinct mixed with like precisely. So funny. Sus Isley. Hey, Kubi, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the sus element is deep within that word. But it would be terrifying if it wasn't so funny. How's it going, Kubi, man? All right, what is this? Hull, default outer. Kind of changing the way these pieces here work a little bit. Super quick work, and then we'll get back to selecting. I just don't know why. I honestly don't know why I did it this way when I was drawing these out. I want the tile that's in front to be the definitive tile. So I don't know why I made these. And they overlap a bit with the tiles in front, so I don't know why I made these like missing these lines. I want these lines here, so I'm adding them back in. Then we'll get back to doing some selection overlay stuff. Because I feel like the change we made should solve at least 2 of the problems I was seeing. Oh yeah, and there's a third one we need to look for. That I think is also a miss paint, something that I painted incorrectly. I think today's stream is going to be very quiet and low-key and chill, which is I'm very down with, because yesterday we got raided by Hillfort Games, who does awesome stuff. I love lurking and watching them work on their 2.5D zombie pixel game. That was a cool crowd. We got a lot of new people. But I'm looking forward to today, which should probably just be the regulars. Just a small, quiet stream here. Should they really be overlapping? So, funny you say that, Ryson. There is an alternative way to do this where they don't overlap. So, oops. So this is how tiles and stuff work here. We can look at this in terms of how things tessellate. So if this is our thing, as we do this, not vertical, but tiles before and behind each other overlap. They do an overlay. I'm actually going to grab this one. so you don't have to deal with the transparency problem. So back when we were prototyping the visuals for this game, and we settled on our diametric perspective, we did look into this. So there are other ways to do this. So here's like, so if we start tessellating this, you'll see that things before and behind overlap, but side to side, there is no overlap. So two tiles side by side don't overlap, but ones in front of and behind each other do overlap. So there is a version of this that you could have done where instead of having the tile be like this, you could have dropped it down one like this. And this one would not overlap, but it would have these double thick outlines all the time, which we could get away with. We could remove due to our autotiler, but it's arbitrary, but I kind of just like having the thicker floors here. But I think this would be more of a problem if we didn't have the black outlines, because you'll notice this, we also overlap if we do something like this. Like if we put one on top and then we put another one in front, you'll see that we still overlap everywhere. And so I think if we didn't use black outlines, we would go back to something like this so that there wasn't any overlap vertically. But as long as we have the black outlines, I think I'm going to do it this way. And since we're moving towards having auto-generated selection outlines, I don't think we're going to go away from having black outlines. Like, it's just a lot easier to define shapes with outlines. Like, if we didn't have these outlines here, to define that this is, like, angled, we would have to do this with, like, lighting. Like, we'd be a lot more dependent on lighting things to explain how things are shaped. Like, we need to do something like this. And so at least for now, it's just easier to just use outlines. But I don't know. This is still early days in terms of the visual design of the game, and all of this will probably be replaced at some point. So it's a good question to ask. Should these really overlap? And it's a question I think we'll pose to ourselves again in the future. Oh, hold on, I need to...
Maximum warp.
Hey, no Jewel, maximum warp. How are you doing? Have you considered using texture normals to procedurally light your blocks? I have, and that's probably the direction we're going to go because I don't have confidence. I don't have a lot of confidence in Godot's 2D lighting model working for us with our very complicated layered isometric 2D stuff. So I think we are going to be doing our own lighting in the autotiler, in which case it does make a lot of sense to do something with normals. Whether that means we're doing it dynamically or whether that means at like asset creation time, we're just doing like, we're just, you know, having a bunch of static. We're like filling the tile atlas with like different lighting situations and we're like picking one in the autotiler. We'll see which we end up with. I kind of want to wait until we've got character nodes like crew members and stuff running around, and we're starting to layer things that fit within the tile map that aren't necessarily part of the tile map. I want to see how all of that plays together before we really settle on a lighting model. What's nice right now is that because everything is flatly shaded with outlines, we don't need to get too crazy with the lighting. Like the only thing I've really done so far with lighting, and this might actually influence our direction quite a bit, is like the doors. So like the doors have lighting, but it's all static. So we might end up doing a very consistent lighting model where the light is always coming from the top. Basically, the lighting might always be coming from the viewer, which will look weird if you start rotating things around in a circle or rotating your camera around and like the lighting moves with you. But I don't actually hate that. And it allows us to do this kind of static lighting that like we've got here, which we still might further change with like some normal stuff. Because like we could still set like the ambient lighting in the room, and then this shadow still applies probably. It just might be less or more prominent depending on the ambient lighting. Because this door will always cast a shadow on this door unless we change the direction the lighting comes from. But if the lighting always comes from the player's own viewpoint, then it's really not a problem. So I don't know. I'm not an artist. So we're kind of going to just be faking it a lot of the time. So we'll see. I would like to err on the side of something that's more procedural. All right, so I think we've updated all of our tile sets. So let's run it back here. And let's see what we've ended up with. So now if I do this... Okay, so we fixed the weird artifact in the bottom corner. This isn't working quite right, and I totally see why. So we made a mistake. Because the work that we did... So changing it for the outline tint makes sense, but because we also changed it for the hull pieces, we have a problem. Okay, we fixed a lot of stuff, though, so we don't have that weird... So the cutaway works now. Well, it's kind of interesting how this part interacts. This, the hover, needs to consider the selection. Because this placing in here should view itself as being part of the selection, so we'll add that to the list of things we need to work on. I kind of want the walls to also show their outlines, so we need to work on that. But okay, I need to roll back one of the changes I made here, and it's annoyingly probably the most involved change I made. So having this filled in for the selection layer makes sense. Having it filled in for the other layers is incorrect, which is unfortunate, because that kind of interferes with our conception of having this be auto-generated. That's okay, we're figuring it out. What's anyone been playing? I'm still playing the Blueprints, and I'm not going to talk about it because it's hard to talk about it in a way that's spoiler free, but I am enjoying it. I feel like I'm making zero progress, but I'm enjoying it. I feel like as I understand more of what's going on in that game, I'm playing it less. I'm playing it worse. I've like reached this stage of like conscious incompetence. So we'll see. We'll see if I make progress beyond that. Sekiro, cool. Sekiro. I'm not a big Dark Souls kind of person, so I did not play that. But it seems very cool. And it seems to have legs. It seems like people, like, you're not the only person who's told me they're playing it. So it seems like it's still got people interested in it, which is cool. Oops. No, I need to fix this first. Oh, shoot. I just overwrote the wrong file. That's fine. You've just been playing the occasional game of STS? Slay the Spire, I presume. That's cool. I'm very excited for Slay the Spire 2. Another game made in Godot. Yeah. Yeah, aside from Blueprints, I play a bit of Mechabellum. I enjoy Mechabellum. That's like an auto battler. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It's one of those games that you play like 1 20-minute match in a day and you're like, I'm good. Because I used to play a lot more competitive strategy games. Like I'd play, you know, a StarCraft 1v1 after work or something, or I'd play a game of Go or whatever. But I just don't have a lot of time, so a quick game of Mechabellum is nice because they're like 20-minute games. Ryson, you realize you haven't played anything for almost a month since starting this jam kick you're on. That was part of the burnout you've been feeling? Yeah, the lack of recreation can be pretty devastating. Well, you're almost done. But it's impressive. I can do one jam. I can do one jam, like, I can maybe do 2 jams a year. I could maybe, the max, I think the max for me would maybe be like 1 jam a quarter. I could probably do that. That would probably be good for me. So I'm keeping an eye out for other weekend jams, but I don't have a lot of time to take off of work. And I don't have a very healthy process for working on jams. Like I do not think I could do a 2-week jam. I think I would kill myself. I mean, in terms of, I would work myself to death is what I would do. That's what would occur. I want to be very clear. I like don't know how to pace my work. I mean, for this project, it's really easy because I have a very set, like, I have like 2 or 3 hours a day. Like, I've carved the time out of my workday. So, like, I forgot who it was yesterday. I think it was maybe, like, Skywalk or something, with something like, the small gains, they stack. That's, like, something they said, and it was like, that's very true of my method here. But that approach does not work for a game jam. It happens over too short a span of time. Alright, okay, I think I fixed the thing. Let's try it again. Oh, that didn't help. Fascinating. Why didn't that help? Let me double check that the tile atlases are correct. So if we look at, like, the floor top here. Okay, yeah, the pieces for the floor are right. Why is that not working then? It seems like let's double check one more time, but I think it's a problem with the auto tiling, not the tile set. We still needed to make that change that I just made, so it wasn't wasted effort, but yeah, we really need to work on the some of the behavior. Oh, it worked this time. Why did it work this time but not before? Okay, it's working now. I'm looking for the white outline around the edge. And we're getting that in pretty much every case. I would like to have it around these bulks too. I would like to see it there as well. So to achieve that, we need to go down to the bulk layers. So we need to say something like, we need to scrutinize whether the block next to us is also a bulk. So we would want to say, if negative y block has, and then we can just add block.forms.bulk. This should give us I'd like to be able to shorten this a little bit. Maybe I have some kind of, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. All right, so that should do something. Let's see what we get. What are you seeing that isn't being helped? Not sure. I waited too long to read that message. I don't remember what the context was. So what I'm trying to do, in addition to the tinting, there's a white outline around the edges. I want to add it to the bulks to the bulkheads that are within the selection fully. So we want to do a white outline around the entire edge of the selection, but I want to add the white outline to like pieces within. So I'm adding some logic to allow us to do that. And it's probably going to take a few adjustments to get all of that behavior in that we want. So now if we throw some bulks here and we select through them. Okay, so now I get the edge pieces here. It's just a bit of juice for me. It's like making sure we're drawing the white outlines wherever the black outlines would normally be. And it takes a slightly different set of logic to determine that. We should, instead of having this be a flat tint, it should really be a transparent tint on top of what's underneath. I don't know how to do that in a way that, because I want it to be conditional. I don't want it to be the whole layer is. I'm trying to like, I've been trying to like make this layer semi-transparent. It doesn't help that we're using an index or an indexed file. And when I try to change it to RGB, it doesn't seem to work. I answered your question on my own already. Great. Love it. Love to see it. Yeah, I would like to change this shade to be like a mostly transparent thing so that we can still see the details underneath. But I'm having a hard time doing that. So like if we switch to RGB color mode, we save. And then if I take this color, which is CF, 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 and I try to reduce the alpha to something very low, like let's say 31. And then if I try to... Oh, it's trying to paint that over, so I need to clear this first. That's what's happening. I understand. I understand now. So we need to change this to be a mask. Okay, so we can hide all of that. I'm gonna have to repaint this though, unfortunately, but I can live with that. And then so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this shade that we had. We're gonna make a transparent version of it. We're gonna turn contiguous on. Yeah, and we're gonna use this. Okay, so this is a little hard. It's a little harder to see. I'm gonna turn the background on so I can actually see what I'm doing. Oh, I went too far. This is probably really hard to see on the stream, but I am painting things. Things are occurring. I'm repainting this as like a very transparent like tint so that we can still see the details underneath. That might introduce its own problems, but that's fine. I'm generally very pleased with this approach that we've got going here for the tinting. You can see it on YouTube and Twitch on a computer screen. Thanks, Rayson. Appreciate it. But more importantly, why are you watching on both? The psychos on mobile probably have bigger problems. Oh yeah, I think I was looking at the platforms people were watching this on. It's like a non-trivial number of people on mobile. I don't know what they're doing either, but I appreciate that they're here. Rhiannon Journey. If you happen to be away from your computer, you'll put it up on your phone and just listen. I really appreciate that, Rhiannon Journey. That's the vibe I'm trying to encourage. Like, even if you can't actively watch the screen, I do want the stream to just be like a pleasant place to be. So if we're achieving that, then I am very happy. I want this to just be like a pleasant soundscape so that if you happen to need to co-work, you want some co-working, you just kind of want to hear someone working on something in the background with a bit of music. That is the vibe we're trying to achieve here. I really hoped I picked a sufficiently opaque, but not too opaque, transparent mask here. I think I'm going to start watching Andor Season 2 tonight. I'm pretty stoked. I don't know if I'm going to get through the first 3 episodes and before the next 3 episodes drop, but I really love that show. I finished my rewatch of it like a few weeks ago before all the insanity started of like GDC and everything. And I enjoyed it. I'm like pretty checked out of a lot of like Marvel stuff nowadays. Not Marvel, I mean like Disney stuff, like Star Wars, Marvel, whatever. But I'm looking forward to this show. All right, so that's sufficient here. And then so what we wanted to do for this is we wanted to pick this one and then do the same. No, we just need to do some line work mostly. I'm not 100% sure on this. Let me look at the 2, okay. Co-working vibes help. You just track down the bug you've been looking for all day? Hell yeah. That sounds great. I'm glad you did that. I usually have so much adrenaline, though, after I've finished a bug hunt like that, that I'm usually just super tilted after. Especially when I do it on stream. I hate bug hunting on stream. It's so embarrassing. Oh, did I go too... I didn't go far enough. This doesn't seem right. I guess it is. It's less than 2 weeks to GodotCon Boston. I'm like excited, maybe a little nervous. I don't really know what I'm getting into there. I don't really know what's gonna be happening, but I'm going with some friends. No idea what the con's gonna be like. I was talking to someone who was also going, and they're giving a talk there. And we really, between the two of us, we don't know what the pacing of the event's gonna be or what's going on, but I'm excited for 3 days of talking Godot. Especially because there was such a minimal Godot presence at GDC this year compared to last year. Very excited. This is getting harder. This song is creepy. What am I supposed to do with this? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're almost there. We're tinting. We're tinting. Call me Tintin, because we are tinting. I'm excited to see how this works as a transparent surface. I had some issues when I was doing transparent auto tiling before, in terms of overdraw, because I am doing a lot of overdrawing because of the cutaway system. Because the cutaway system could just randomly make things go away or not. I had to resolve that a lot with the auto tiler to prevent overdrawing, because overdrawing with transparent or semi-transparent surfaces is like a huge problem for us. So I don't think we'll see this problem because we're specifically doing a thin overlay, but I am still a little nervous. Tinting with an I. Not tenting, Ryson. Jeez. Willfully misunderstanding me. My partner actually gets really annoyed with me about that sort of thing. Because the California accent is like very approximate in the way that it pronounces things, especially vowels and like the ends of words. Like if I say backpack, I don't really say the CK in either of the C's or K's in backpack. I just stop talking when I reach the end of each syllable. Cat. Like, there's a lot of weird things that are part of like my local dialect that maddens her. And yeah, the way I kind of just casually do vowels. Vowels don't matter. Vowels are like made up. There's plenty of languages, written languages that don't have or need vowels, or the vowels came after. Like Phoenician, like the vowels are like the spacing between consonants, and like you can kind of fill them in however you want. And it's the consonants that are like more determinate. Not that I know how to speak Phoenician. I'm just like thinking about old languages. Vowels are what you make them. This is again getting kind of tough because I have no guides here. I understand that I could probably have been copy and pasting this a lot, but sometimes I just like drawing stuff. I know it's sometimes inefficient, but sometimes I like having these kind of mindless tasks that let me think about stuff or talk about stuff. Sometimes it's like you end up having a lot of ideas or something, or you might rethink something just because you're doing this kind of busy work. It's like shower thoughts, but it's like for like work. Ryson, you've always found the auditory distinction between words like pin and pen to be too subtle for your mind to bother with. Yeah. Rhiannon Journey, these are all the same word. Backpack, backpack, big pick, backpack, buckpuck. Yeah, exactly. You get it. Most of those aren't words, but yeah. If they were. But yeah, that ambiguity is funny. It's a good time. All right, let's try it. Let's see how this works with semi-transparent versions. Because before we were just using opaque overlays, but now we've got these semi-transparent ones. Let's see what we got. You can't even see it if I turn the background off, which makes me think they're maybe too subtle, but we can always turn them up. I think it'll make it more clear what the cutaway system is doing, if this is a transparent overlay or a semi-transparent one. All right, so now if we do our overlay, ooh. I actually don't hate that. It's actually showing off the grids a little bit more. I'm actually kind of down with that. Like the grids are hidden except when you use your selection tool. Kind of into this. Oh, and now we can see the difference underneath. I think this is okay. It's really subtle, but I think it's okay. There's a couple more adjustments we need to make. But I'm generally quite pleased with this. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think it is maybe a little too subtle. I think we could crank it up a little bit. But I think the white outlines help a lot. I think the grid looks good for the overlay. Yeah, it's kind of nice because I don't want you to have the grid hit you in the face all the time, but for that purpose, I think it's kind of cool. Stupid Hawker 13.99. Hey, welcome in. Neat, thank you. Cool. Stubenhocker, if you're new, we're working on kind of an isometric 3D version of FTL Faster Than Light. We're working on our editor tools that lets us build out these isometric 3D ships that we're going to be using. We're not handcrafting everything like in FTL. We're handcrafting the modules, and then we're going to have an editor tool that lets us rearrange them. And we're running all of that in the game rather than as an... It's like a runtime tool. It's not like an edit time tool. Like you can run the editor tool while the game is playing kind of deal. Yeah. All right. I do kind of think the transparency is a little too subtle. So I'm just going to wash everything again. So we're just going to double up on everything, I think. I'm going to try this, and then I'm going to see what I end up with here. Oh, oops. I should do this without the background on. So what do we got? So we've got CFCF with a transparency of 59. That's not exactly what I want. Oops, I undid maybe too many things. Stubenhocker, it's pretty cool to see. You work on a 2D game too that has wall editing as well, but it sure as heck is different with this isometric perspective. Oh yeah, our challenge is not just isometric; it's the fact that it's like dimetric, so it's like 4:1. It's like very side on, and yeah, Godot does not handle isometric auto tiling very well. So we have a very involved custom auto tiler that lets us do things because we have a lot, and we have a cutaway system because if you just draw a room, I need a better way of showing like a transparent version. Maybe we need to play around with the transparency of cutaway layers so that you can actually see what's happening. So if we just make a room and we place a wall, you actually like, it's actually really hard to see behind the wall normally because there's just, we obscure so many tiles behind. So we have this cutaway system that helps us with that. Because yeah, it's definitely a challenging thing. But what kind of 2D game are you working on? Do you have any links or anything? Would love to see it. We also need to get the doors working with the selection thing. So if I do a selection like this, oh, we just straight up crash. Why? Value was either too large or too small. Source ID -1. Ah, okay. Interesting. So we need support for doors. System as it's currently written cannot work around that. That's fine. That's the next thing on our to-do list once I'm happy with kind of the transparency thing we've got going on here. So can I do like this and then do just a color replacement? Yep. And same thing here. So we're gonna double the opacity here. Oh, I actually did that wrong. I want it to be 63. You can start seeing it without the background now. Okay, I am more happy with the opacity. Let's try it in game. The outlining might be a bit much now, but we can dial it in. We can dial it in. I follow the Will Wright school of balance, which says you only ever really double or halve things. Ryson, you can't remember, have I mentioned elevators, ladders, and stairs to go between floors? Yeah, we will have... We may not have stairs because of our perspective, stairs are really hard. Really hard. But we're going to have turbo lifts like in Star Trek. And that's probably what we're going to start with because turbo lifts are easier because we can actually close the doors and then just basically move people up. We will eventually do ladders so that you have a verticality option that's not dependent on power. But I'm not going to do ladders straight away because we'll have to animate the ladders, which actually might be kind of easy. Hey, Yaria. We're actually working on overlays. We're working on selection overlays right now. How are you doing? So like we can place this stuff and now we can select. Oh, why does it look like this? I think I messed something up somewhere. Oh yeah, the deck stuff is, the bulk deck is not working. But yeah, we're working on our selection overlays. Yeah, I like the grid because that makes selection a really easy way to count tiles. It makes it a really easy way because I don't want to show grids all the time. And the way we're doing this with the transparent overlay, it lets you still see cutaway stuff without it disappearing. Yeah, I'm very pleased with this at the moment. There's still some adjustments we need to make here. I don't understand why we're seeing this darker gray here on the sides of the floor tiles. Let us see if that is a problem here. Oh yeah, it totally is. This tile was never finished. FFF. What is happening here? Color plus alpha. This is brighter than I wanted it to be. This looks amazing no matter how many times you see it. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we are layering lots and lots and lots of little functionality here. So let's put this here and let's get this in here. Oops. All right, so that's that. I think I want to dial back the opacity a little bit, but changing that is actually going to be kind of non-trivial because of the way Sprite handles layering transparent colors over each other. It's going to be really hard to dial that in exactly. So I will probably do that in my own time. I think we fixed the one problem we were seeing. How are you doing? I might have asked you that. But it just shows how much I want to know. How you doing? Okay, so I'm still missing some pieces. That means this piece. One of these pieces is missing. Is it this piece? I need to turn the background on. I can't see. Ah, yeah, it's this piece. Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. So it only shows the overlapping grid on the floor tiles, not the walls. And I like that a lot. We need to get the selection to stick a little more. Because if I draw a selection and then I paint over it, the thing that I paint over should be part of the selection now. So that's should be pretty easy to fix. We also need... So this is how the behavior should work, where I make a new selection. It gets rid of the old selection. And then if I press like shift, if I shift select, it'll keep it. So let's finish the rest of the outlining stuff I want to do. And then we can work on that. There's a few more bugs here that we want to sort out with the way this behavior is working. Oh, that's unusual. That should be white, and there should be a white outline there. All right, let's dig into the autotiler. The autotiler logic needs to be tweaked a little bit here. Okay, I'm glad we did this as a second pass rather than as a branch of the initial pass. Get rid of this. So the Z, we need to draw the Z stuff. So here we're going to say, if block.forms.select bitwise or block.forms.bulk. I could make a form that's like select bulk or like bulk select or something like that, and so I don't have to do it like this, but I feel like this is more intuitive. It's a little, it takes more space to write, but still. All right, that should add some additional outlining that I want to see. Steuben, you're unfamiliar with how easy it would be to do in Godot, but I could consider using indexed colors and configure how transparent things should be at runtime by changing the index palette instead. If transparent pixels really are a pain to deal with in A-Sprite. Well, they're a pain when you're in RGB mode. So yeah, what I should do is like what you're saying. I should add transparent colors to a palette. The problem is that's just gonna balloon the size of my palette significantly. But yeah, I should do something. So that this is more, so that we can be more consistent going forward. My goal is to be able to auto-generate the transparent layers. Or not the transparent layers, but the selection layers to fit different shapes. Because we have a bunch of different shapes. And, you know, we could totally, I don't want to have to, for all of these different shapes, I don't want to have to draw the selection version of it. I want to be able to intuit it. So I want to be able to take this and say, like, these black pixels become white pixels, and then the rest of this stuff just becomes like a light tinted grayscale variant. And maybe it looks at the index of it and it picks a different index. I don't know. We need to explore how we're going to generate these a little more. Right now we can just handcraft them because we don't have a lot to pull from, but all right, what was I testing? Oh yeah. So if I place this, and then I throw the selection here. Yeah, okay, good. This is what I want to see. I really need to fix this. The first pixel you draw the selection on doesn't get included in the selection. And that's fine. I think that has to do with the hover case. The way we handle what I call hovering, which is this preview block thing, which is this transient block that is actually added to the auto tiling. It's added to the block space and then it's removed because we're dragging it all around here. And we have to add it because we need it for like auto tiling to work correctly. Like we need the outlines to work correctly. But it's very weird because these blocks are very transient unless they end up being included in a placement. So if I were to place this, the initial block is maintained. But for some reason, if I select it, up to the first two blocks are not included in the selection. So we need to work through that. But what I want to do first is there's one more white outline we're missing, which is the outline here at the junction between the two, between the bulk and the floor. Like this black line here, I want to replace this with a white line. Like essentially anywhere there would normally be a black line should be a white outline if it's included in a selection. Stubenhocker, yeah, that could work pretty well. Have each edge a different color so you can replace the top and left edges by their respective colors. Though you guess you could be funky with it could be funky with the corners. But yeah, just thinking out loud at this point. No, I appreciate that. I certainly haven't gotten any ideas from chat. I certainly haven't taken any of chat's ideas and run with it. That's the idea down here, Steuben. So I'm trying to think of a better way, because we need to take a shape like this. If these are the shapes that I can use, like all these and this, we need to take these 3D shapes and eventually we need to turn them into like a sprite atlas like this, right? And this is one I laid out by hand, but that's not really sustainable for me in the long run. And in fact, I think that's going to be a real pain in the ass for modding. So I'm trying to think of a way where we can use something akin to normals to break these 3D objects up into their 2D sprite atlases, like automatically. Like you can draw, like maybe you just draw this. You draw the 4 camera rotations for a shape. So this shape, this is just this shape 4 times from different angles. And we could potentially use something like this, where we could either define specifically by using different shades, like each side. Like this is this side, this is this side. And not only the side, but the edges as well. Like have the edges mapped to certain colors in the palette. Or we could do a simplified version like this, and it would kind of look like something like this maybe. One of these options, depending on how detailed you want the edge data to be. So we're thinking about doing stuff like this. We haven't gotten too far into it. But yeah, this is something you and I are aligned in as far as some of the stuff that needs to happen to make this doable at scale. Because not only do we have the full resolution versions of shapes, we also have half scale resolution of everything. And yeah, so we need something. I don't want to have to split these faces out by hand like this. That's gonna be a huge pain in the butt. Oh, we got someone over on Twitch that needs to be banned. Hold on. Yeah, I haven't worked it all out yet, Steuben, because I'm not like a 3D artist. So people have described this to me and they're like, oh yeah, this is a lot like texture mapping and this is a lot like certain concepts that are used in 3D to relate 3D to 2D. And I'm like, is it you? It's you, Fullbox. You know it's you. No, we need to ban Dusty Psycho Therapist TIO. Is that an O or a 0? That's a 0, I think. Actually, that might be an O. I'm actually not sure. I need to just copy and paste their name. So if someone could load the photon torpedoes, that would be excellent. Target the spammer. All right, are we ready? Fire. You've been banned. Get out of here. Just do @name, it should autocomplete. Sweet. Pro streamer in the house. Fullbox. Fullbox, how's Block Shop going? I'm very pleased and excited about the launch of your game, which I know was a while ago now, but like the last month since GDC started, I feel like no time has passed in my mind, even though it's been like a month. It's just all of a sudden there was a 30-day time skip. Stubenhocker, wasn't aware I was multi-streaming. Now makes sense who else you're talking to. Yeah, we multi-stream YouTube and Twitch. And for TOS reasons, I can't mix the chat. I have seen people who show both chats side by side. But we believe in a very clean presentation here. So we haven't done anything like that. Block Shop is nice. You're working on a new long-term project now? Hell yeah. Are you thinking about doing any palette cleansers like a jam or something? We're working on our selection stuff. Full box. We're working on some new. We explored a bunch of different ways to do box selections, and this is the only one so far that's been like any good. And we came up, we developed this yesterday after abandoning a bunch of different attempts. So we're just working on this now about how to do multi-level selection stuff like this. Very pleased with it. We're fixing a few issues. But I think it's going to be a good way of showing where the selections are. You did 2 jams. Game is coming out of one of those. Simple visual idea with some very nice potential. Nice. Love to see it. All right, what are we still doing? There's like one more visual artifact that we need to deal with. Oh yeah, it's this one. So we're still not replacing one set of the outlines. So we need to tweak the rules just a little bit more here. I think it's in the bulk X and bulk Y layers. You can post a GIF if I want to see. Still very much work in progress, though. Yeah, do it. Post it here or post it in the Discord. Oh yeah, post it here. There you go. All right, let me see. All right, so what's going on here? There's some kind of radial control thing. You're blasting ghosts with light. What jam was this for? Can I zoom out a little? Oh, okay, okay. I thought this was just the GIF you sent me. You sent... Okay, okay, what's going on here? So we've got this red thing. Got this flame, this eternal flame. Got these ghosties. This already feels very juicy. Okay, you're capturing their ghostly light. I can see that. That's really nice. Oh, it was for the radial menu jam. You need more juice? You've got a lot of juice in here already. I think all streamers either are or should be a juice first. I think juice-driven development is the correct approach for jams, for streaming, for a lot of things. I think what you got needs to be as juicy as possible, as early as possible. Juice-driven development. Stubenhocker, thank you for the follow. Thanks for making the jump from YouTube to Twitch. Just to hit me with the follow. Appreciate that. You do have the benefit on Twitch of 4K streaming, or on YouTube of 4K streaming, but you know, full boxes in Twitch, so. You've got some B-Sky posts on what it was like before. Oh, they want to tell me about some new features. You got a little tower defense game. Oh, rank number 5 in the radial menu jam. Love, that's awesome. Rank 2 and fun. This is cool. Oh yeah, you've juiced it up significantly since then. Oh, so these are like, I see. So in the GIF you sent us, there was only the one. Oh, this is really interesting. A radial tower defense game. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I see you've made a few changes to it already. Let's see that second link. Oh, this is your initial one that you submitted. Okay, so you level this up so you get eventual additional hard points. There are these like radial hard points. This is super cool. This is awesome. Oh, so now it follows your mouse. Okay, yeah, that's probably better. So you still have to think about it because it's not, your mouse doesn't instantly rotate around the screen. So there's still some strategy. You can only be in one place at once. That's super cool. That's super cool. I'm excited to see where that goes. Stubenhocker, you don't need 4K for your 1080p secondary screen. That is a good point. That is a good point. The latency is the technical latency is a little lower on Twitch, but the streamer latency is just as high. Still takes me just as long to see your message. Prostocotilo. I want to say your name very intensely. I really want to lean into your name. Prostocotilo. But I feel like that's maybe too much. So, Prosto, thank you for coming in. You want it to be a node buster like type of game? That's going to be great. All right, what are we doing? Oh yeah, we're making some slight adjustments to the way the bulk layers are overlaying. So they need to be checking. So if block dot has the deck, no, this is not how we want this to work, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, okay, that is the correct layer. So this one, instead of checking to see if there's a deck, we want it to check to see if there's a bulk, I think, instead. The bulk is like the top piece and the deck is like the bottom piece. Because each block has a bulk, which is the top part, and the deck, which is the bottom part. What are you making here today? Hey, we're working on like an isometric 3D kind of variant of FTL, faster than light, where it's kind of a little more layered. Like you might have like bridge layer and then other layers and like engine layer down here, cargo layer. So we're adding we're doing the 3D chess version of FTL faster than light. And right now we're working on a selection overlay because we have this kind of complicated autotiler. You remember this one? That's very nice to hear. Yeah, so the autotiler is still good and beautiful and still works pretty much how it's always worked. And so now, if we try to do a selection, it still doesn't do it. Why? Why does it not do it? So yeah, we're working on this kind of semi-transparent selection box. We tried a bunch of different approaches, and this is the only version that I don't hate, so we're kind of working on this one. We kind of had the epiphany that we could just use a very similar process to the regular autotiler. And we're pretty pleased with this, but there's this black line here along the base of this wall should be white. So we're just making some adjustments to that. Yeah, it is up to the wall to do that. So if you're a bulk piece and you look over, oh, well, hold on. So if there's a deck, oh, this needs to be a compound check. This needs to be a compound check. So we need to say, if there is a floor below you. Oh, actually, I didn't make the change to both sides. Maybe it is working. But I do think there needs to be one more adjustment to get this working correctly. But how are you doing, Prosto? Or anyone else who's lurking who would like to talk about how they're doing, what they're working on. I love hearing what's going on here. Okay, so if I throw this down and I drag another selection over it. No, we still don't get it. Okay, so yeah, this needs to be a compound check. I'm very pleased that the semi-transparency is working. Previously, when I tried to do transparency with this very layered auto tile thing, we've got some bad behavior. But it's working pretty well so far. So instead, this needs to check, okay, so is there a deck here? So if does this block have a deck? Actually, well, let's say this. So if does this block have a deck? And does positive X block? Oh, let's put positive X block first. So if positive X block dot has block dot forms dot bulk, and it's a not, we're checking not. So if this isn't here, and I want to do this in the opposite order. No, I don't. So it needs to be a two-part check here. We need to compare two blocks, both its block and its the visual block in front of it, to know whether we can alter the atlas coords here. Thanks for asking, Alive. That's all you can do, right? That's the main thing. Stubenhocker, you should be writing version fix code due to broken character sprites in your previous release, but you're feeling out of it. I get that. I feel that. Sometimes I'll sit down to work, especially off stream, and I just don't, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't come together. On stream, I have a lot more consistency, and I think it has to do with the pressure to perform and the people in the audience pushing me along. So I don't know, maybe you should start streaming if you don't. It's helped me with accountability and with having the energy to do stuff, which is definitely something I've struggled with previously. All right, I'm hoping this works now. Who? I mean, I was talking to Steuben specifically, but Steuben would love to, but you don't think people would be wanting you to stream any code of our game? Oh, yeah. I guess if you're in a team, you got to worry about that sort of thing. Like, my repository is not public, but I've streamed over 100 episodes of this game. So, like, I feel like it would not be hard. If someone really wanted to, like, crib my stuff, they could do it much better than I am doing it, frankly. But I understand. I think if you're on a team, you got to worry about what they're comfortable with too, right? All right, are we getting it? No, we still aren't getting it. Fascinating. What we should be seeing... Oh, that didn't work either. I see another issue. What we should be seeing is this black outline should be white. Is it being overwritten by something? It shouldn't be. Do I have an or somewhere instead of an and? That's also possible. Go stream? Yeah, there you go. Peer pressure. I've only been doing it a year, and when I started, I didn't think anyone would be interested in watching this. I mean, it's still very few people are interested in watching this, but I've been very heartened by the support and the general interest from people. All right, so the bulk layer X and the bulk layer Y. Positive X block, right? Bulk layer X, positive X block. Oh, I have a knot here. This isn't supposed to be a knot. This is supposed to be in which case I could change this again. All right, let's confirm that it works, and then I can move it around if I like. All right, moment of truth here. So let's throw down just a simple room. And then let's do a spanning selection across two layers. Oof. Okay, so I got my interior wall here. So we have our white outline here on the inside, which we want. However, we're also now having a white outline on the outside, which I do not want. So we need to make this check even more complicated. So maybe the check isn't so much that whether we have a deck or not, but we're checking to see if the neighboring block has a deck or not. Is that right? That might not be right. Because what happens if we place a block on the edge here like this? Oh. This is working now. What? I changed nothing, and now if you place a block inside the selection area, it gets added to the selection. This, like, wasn't true a moment ago. What? How did this happen? Okay. Oh, actually, I think this is the correct behavior. Okay, I know what we're doing. So we're not checking our own...
Impeccable, Captain.
Thank you, Mr. Spock. I like to think so. But it's nice when you say it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually not checking our own block. We're only going to be checking our positive X block, or our positive block, our neighbor. So each face has a block that's obscuring it. And so we're going to check the block that's obscuring us. We are looking for a bulk, and we are looking for a deck. Is this either or and? So if this has a bulk... Actually, I don't even think we need to check the bulk part. Can we just check the deck? Is this simpler than I gave it credit for? All right, so let's go up here. Let's select this area. Oh, nope, so we broke it. So let's think this through. So this bulk, this wall section here, it shouldn't be rendering this bottom line because there's a deck beneath it. Oh, I think I need a slightly more complex conditional then to handle this. And then this one is checking. So what we are doing is we're checking for conditions when you can omit this line. One condition when you can omit this line. The default should be that the line is drawn. A condition that you can omit the line is when there is a deck beneath you and there is nothing across from you. Specifically, there isn't a bulk across from you. Okay, so this is a compound check. Okay. So we need to go back to this. We need to say... So there isn't a bulk. If there isn't a bulk across from you... Or if there is a bulk across from you... And... Or is it or? Or... I think it's or. Block.has block.forms.deck. So if our opposite block has a bulk, or... I think it's and, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is and. Let's try or first. Or would it be better? And I hate that I have been starting my streams so late because I'm like running out of time soon. I need to start earlier because now we finally got a good number of people here, and I hate to like be like, sorry guys, I gotta go. But we got another 20 minutes. Let's keep doing some stuff. I don't think we're gonna tackle everything that we had in mind today, but pretty pleased with what we've got going on here so far. Okay, outside's looking good. Outside's looking good. The inside is not looking good. Why is the inside misbehaving? So what you're saying is you're like, okay, there isn't a floor, there isn't a wall across from me, but there is a deck below me. So that does need to be an and. Otherwise, we don't handle both cases correctly. Watch that just break something else. I'm trying to keep it fairly simple as far as the conditionals go. I hate when you get a conditional that's like just like crazy nested and complicated and stuff. It should just be a fairly straightforward check. Okay, so I think we fixed one thing and broke the other thing again. Oh no, now both things are just bad. Which is weird, because this, based on my understanding of our logic, there should be no line here. So I think I've written this wrong. Oh. Is it not? Oh, did I define the wrong thing? Might have defined the wrong thing. Yeah, in one place we have bulk and in the other we have deck. It should be bulk. I think I just wrote it wrong. I think the problem is between the chair and the keyboard. Hopefully we solved at least one of the cases here. I'm going to be a little upset. Okay, so the interior case is handled now. So we've got this interior line work is correct. Problem is this outer line work. This line needs to not be here. Maybe this actually has to be a nested check. Like maybe we need to check one condition and then check another condition for this to work correctly. What if I do this? What if I put these blocks in front of this here? Yeah, that's correct. That's what you want to see. Oh, I see another spot where we want to make a change. Yeah, I think we're just going to be tightening up the outlining stuff today. I think some of the other stuff we want to do, like door support, I think we're going to need to save that for tomorrow. I love that this just works now, though, where I can just, if I'm drawing in here, it's... Although, what if I place the block? Oh, no, it's working. The merge tool is working correctly somehow. I feel like Again, I feel like I didn't do anything and then this just started working. Which I don't hate. I don't hate that. All right, so how are we going to... So we need to erase this line. So this line is showing up because we're not meeting a sufficient condition. The sufficient condition I defined is, at the moment, our opposite block has to be a wall, it has to be a bulk, and our current block, the block that we're in, has to have a floor. If both of those things are true, then you can get rid of that line. Maybe it needs to be this. This is getting a little complicated for my liking, but this might work. So what if we check this? No, that didn't do anything. Oh man, we're checking blocks, huh? So we're actually not considering the autotiler when we do this. And that's actually probably okay. It makes it a little more clear that the cutaway is doing something if we're not checking that. Oh, I think we can check for this. If our opposite doesn't have a deck, but our block does have a deck, then I think we can get rid of this line. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think this is it. I think we figured it out. I hope we figured it out. I've got laundry I need to do. Oh, I think we did it. No extra outline here. But we do get the outline here. All right, that is pleasing. That is very pleasing. I might actually backport some of these rule sets for the outlining back to the other autotiler, because there's some of this stuff that I like that I think the other one should be using. But that would be dependent on cutaway result. Okay, cool. So we're almost out of time. Is there anything else we can just kind of knock out that would be a freebie? I don't know. Maybe we should just end on the win. I'm very pleased with how this tinting selection overlay thing works. It's a little awkward like this when it doesn't take up more than one layer. So maybe we need... Can we do anything with that? No, we can't. There's actually nothing we can do to do this. The way it kind of gets cut off awkwardly here. But that's fine, because if you were doing this, in actuality, you would be cutting away everything else. Oh. Okay, this one's a little awkward. I see another spot that we need to fix. This one's for the deck. So the deck needs, for the positive Z, so positive Z block has select. It needs to also have and block.forms.bulk. Bryson, modern day Sisyphus is perpetually doing laundry. I know. I always say like I have to go do laundry, and it's because I always do it over like a couple days in the middle of the week. I don't have in-unit laundry, so I have to go around the corner to a laundromat and, you know, wait at a coffee shop and do some work there. It's horrible. How does anyone live like this? All right, so this should work now. So if we try to box this and we box the first layer, this layer, and then the following layer, yeah, okay, we get the correct outlining. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. There's still some, yeah, I think I'm gonna change how the cutaway works a little bit, or how the auto tiling works in the context of the cutaway. I actually think we want to do some post cutaway stuff. I want to add some cutaway conditionals of like, if not cutaway this key. I know that makes the conditionals more complex, but I think we want to be a little more responsive based on the... I think we want to change the auto tiler based on what's being cut away a little more. There's a couple edge cases. Stubenhocker, is this cutaway going to be used in-game as well as characters running around? Yeah, so we have kind of a problem in that it has to do with our diametric perspective, but we basically need this cutaway system because, like, if you've got a layer here, if you've got like a room here, and then you like go down to another layer, and you make like another one here, and then you like go down another layer, you make another one here. And so if you make all these rooms, it's really hard to see in everything. Let's cover this floor up. So like if you're like, okay, here's the first floor, I can easily see what's going on here, but you're like, okay, now I want to see what's going on the second floor. Gotta do this whole thing. So will characters be cut away on higher levels? Probably. Will they be cut away like dividing walls here? Because here dividing walls are gonna be cut away. I don't know. Maybe not. So like you can cut away the dividing lines, the dividing walls here. Maybe characters will not be cut away, so they'll continue to be present like floors are, and you'll just cut away walls. So a character on the first floor will probably be cut away if you're looking at the second floor, but a character on the second floor will probably not be cut away when you're on the second floor, if you get what I mean. Whereas like walls are being cut away from the same floor that you're on, but floors aren't, and I don't think characters will either. And that way you can like wipe the walls out like Sims style, and you can see the characters running around still. I think that was your question, and I think that's my answer. At least until we've got everyone running around and we can look at it a little more closely about what's going on. Because, yeah, the cutaway system is not done. Like, I don't like the way that it wipes out whole walls, like the way that it works exactly, but we tried a bunch of different methods, and this is the one that's working the best so far. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how the selection stuff is looking. Look at all this. I think the combination of the selection with the cutaway is more readable than I thought that it would be. Obviously, you're not gonna... a selection box is not gonna render like this in-game. Like, in the edit time, you want us to be able to see everything that you've selected because you might click it and move it. Like, you might move this whole chunk of terrain. But when you're playing the game, you'll probably do the selection box, and then it will disappear, and then only things that are selectable, like characters and stuff, will probably remain highlight, and the selection box will probably go away after the selection has been made. I also need the cutaway to be aware of a selection box. So right now, if you select from back to front, the cutaway moves forward like this. The cutaway should probably be aware of the selection and probably should use the back tip of the selection as the basis for the cutaway until the selection goes away. So that as you select forward, you can still see what you're selecting. You don't have to like go back like this. Yeah, I like how these systems play together. I like the interplay. It's definitely complicated. But I do enjoy the interplay. And I think we're putting it together in such a way that it's going to look good and it's going to play well. But yeah, keeping this sort of system usable and intelligible, I think is going to be a challenge. It's going to be an ongoing challenge for us. Kind of the whole time. Until we've really nailed the editing stuff. All right, is there anyone I can raid? Probably go hang out with Tabugi. All right, I think we gotta wrap it up here. Please joining me in heading over to another great indie game dev streamer who's working on their game Wake Cup. I think they're trying to get the achievements to their own game right now, which is pretty funny. But we'll be back tomorrow, Friday, same time, hopefully a little earlier. Hoping today I started around noon. I'm hoping to start more like at 11 so we can go longer because my streams should be 3 hours. I'm aiming for 3 hours. Lately, I've only been achieving 2, and that needs to be improved. So hopefully you can catch me a little earlier tomorrow. If not, we'll also be streaming Saturday. We stream Saturdays usually so that I can get kind of a different... So the people that work during the week and can't necessarily watch can still tune in. But it's been a really great crowd. It's been nice seeing some new people, like Stubenhocker or Prosto. Nice seeing some old faces, like Full Box. And yes, I called your face old. No Jewel. Ryson. Aria. Rhiannon Journey, as always. Still needs work. It's a pleasure. Yeah, if I missed anyone, sorry. Hopefully I'll catch you all next time. Bye. Ship them if you got them.
Maximum off.